It's a train that you're forced to get on. You don't have any choice. If you cared about the person who died, you're going to have to go on this train ride.
I don't know, like during school, probably like when we have dances. Because she can't help me get ready and stuff. And when I have sports, she won't be there to watch.
Mourning Hope is a Nebraska nonprofit organization and welcomes families of all races, religions, and socioeconomic levels. Their mission has grown with many expanded services to help support grieving families. The name, Mourning Hope, was chosen because of the healing that happens through mourning and the hope that it brings to families.
What we found was that there are some programs that address adult grief, but not very many that address teen and children's grief. Teen grief and children's grief is much different than adult grief, and sometimes we find that adults misunderstand and misinterpret children's grief. And we also know that caring adults many times try to protect their children from the pain and then sometimes exclude them from what can be a real healing process.
It was real difficult for me to identify the way the other people in my family were grieving, whether it was my mom and dad or my children, because I was involved in my own grief at the time, and a lot of times it was difficult for me to think, well, they're grieving differently than I am, which they were. You know, everybody was on their own timetable.
Some of the things that I remembered once, I knew when she died. She died in the night. She died in her sleep. I miss her very much.
About the first 3 months after Jenny died, I wasted a lot of time. I'd come home and I'd just sit around. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I'd go in my room and cry. And if I did talk to anyone, that's all I'd talk about.
Mourning Hope educational support groups offer a safe, supportive environment for families to share their feelings and experiences with others as they do the work of mourning, develop healthy coping skills, and establish support systems. Age-appropriate classes are available for students in elementary school, middle school, high school, young adults of college age, and for the adult caregivers of the participants.
Mourning Hope is such a valuable support group and an asset to the Lincoln community. Parents and families, the earlier they get engaged to start dealing with their grief, the better off they're going to be. It is just such a preventative group that it's just one of the most important things for children and adolescents and families to get engaged in.
Each group works to help participants explore and express their feelings in a way that is developmentally appropriate for them. Young children, many times, do not have the vocabulary to express their feelings. Their group explores their understanding through play, drama, music, puppetry, and art.
She was real sick. I have a picture of her. There's lots of pictures of her. That's what's making me remember.
As children grow older, they have more memories of their loved one, and their ability to understand death becomes more defined. In this group, they use art and movement as a way to express their feelings, questions, and memories.
What I liked about Mourning Hope was the crafts and talking with other people that have gone through the same thing.
Teen years can be challenging as they gain a new identity. This group uses discussion, journaling, and art activities to help them learn to cope with their loss in healthy ways. Young adults who are beginning a new life on their own many times find that barriers such as distance, work, or school interferes with their immediate support systems. This group offers opportunities to grow through their grief with other peers who are experiencing similar feelings of loss.
I would recommend Mourning Hope. It's a good step towards healing. That it's not going to make things go away, but it's just a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Step in the right direction, because there's a lot of wrong directions you could go after something like that happened, and Mourning Hope it'll guide you the right way. Definitely.
The caregiver class addresses the unique challenges of parenting grieving children. This group offers information on children's grief and ways to support their families in this difficult process.
I feel as a parent, I was so overwhelmed in grief myself that I couldn't help Elizabeth. I didn't know how. I didn't know how to help myself, more or less anybody else.
Mourning Hope provides community education and training opportunities to increase awareness of the grief process and help people learn to companion others after a loss. Representatives from Mourning Hope are also available to speak to schools, employers, and community organizations on topics related to supporting others through difficult times.
It was hard and concentrating in school, and I wanted to tell my teachers that, like, most of the times it's not every day you have someone die in your family, and when you have someone die, you're really not thinking about your schoolwork.
Kids come to school with something, so life-changing and traumatic that's happened at home the night before or 2 days or something like that. And they come to class and they can't concentrate sometimes, or they kind of feel withdrawn from the other kids, don't know how much they want to share, just find out just some of the regular activities that you do during the class. Sometimes they just need to get out of there and they can't really talk about it. And so it's good as a teacher if you've had some kind of training into how to support them, at the same time how to walk them through some of the things that they're feeling and to let them know that it's okay.
Well, like everyone else has gone back to their normal life, and they think that we should stop grieving.
Mourning Hope continues to build a network of professionals and resources that are appropriate for families experiencing grief or who are supporting someone grieving. Along with the groups they facilitate, trained volunteers respond to telephone calls, offer information, and make referrals. A lending library of grief-related materials is also available to the community. Mourning Hope collaborates with other organizations to provide community programs such as day camps, health fairs, and workshops. Thus, Mourning Hope not only benefits the participants directly involved in the program, it benefits the Lincoln community as a whole.
When a death occurs, it's not just like when somebody takes a few days off, takes care of all the funeral arrangements and all the particulars. I think sometimes we think people then that grieving's over, and for many people it just hasn't even begun yet. So I think that's something employers have to be understanding of.
I took 2 weeks off of work, and when I come back, they all pretty much figured it was over and done with, and that was their way of dealing with it too. I mean, people tiptoe around death, grief, and the only way they can handle that is just to ignore it.
Well, what I've seen is the lack of complete services for kids who experience loss through death. And I think in the Lincoln community or in our state, there's a real need for some helping hand to reach out to them. And Mourning Hope has certainly been that extension, I think, in the Lincoln community. Kids experience all kinds of losses, but the loss through death seems to be one that sends them reeling. And Mourning Hope has filled a huge void in this community, and hopefully this community will support it in a way that program can continue.
I think that Mourning Hope provides that. People that care, that are good listeners, that know how to walk you through those scary places, and that tell you that you've got a hole in your heart, but it won't always be there, or won't always be that same depth of pain.
One of the things I like best about Mourning Hope is the dedication I see in the people who work with it. It's just exceptional, and you can tell it's a very strong mission for the people involved with it.
Please consider being a volunteer or making a financial contribution to Mourning Hope. If you would like to register or need more information on Mourning Hope, please call.
We only grieve because we love people. And to love people is the most important thing on this earth. And it's a real painful price to have to pay for the best thing in the world. But I'm glad for my kids that they grieve, because to me that means they loved somebody enough to care and to miss them and to have feelings about them when they're gone.